Welcome back to the only podcast that has more hosts and co-hosts than it has guests. Of course, I'm your host, one of them, Travis, and I'm here with Jen, as always. Hey, Jen.
Hi.
And we have special guests because it's the end of the year, so we wanted to do something kind of different and special, so we invited the group. Of course, Rob Wilson, as always, is back. Hey, Rob.
Hey, yo, all creators, Travis, Gentendo. It is good to be back on the podcast with you. We seem to have been tag teaming in and out, so delighted to have a chat today.
Indeed. And for the first time, and someone who's actually been asked for by the listenership, John. Hey, John.
Hi.
He's that guy. That's the guy he is.
It's
Glad
the
to be here.
boys club today.
A little bit. You're a little outnumbered today.
It's always the boys club.
Well, today we're going to have a little bit of fun. If you're new to the podcast, we're here to help you grow your channel. Of course, if you're listening for the first time on the audio podcast, there's links in the show notes that'll help you do all the things. Today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things we saw happen in 2024, as well as what we think is going to happen in 2025 and the things you can prepare yourself to grow in the new year. Now, it is critical for those of you that are new to understand that there's a lot of inside jokes that happen here on the podcast, and we just ask that you show us a little mercy as those jokes may come through. But if you're watching on the main vidIQ channel, there is an unedited version of this on the Boost channel. We, of course, would love to see you over there. The link will be in the description. As you are going to see this, it's going to be heavily edited. The Boost is going to see all the raw craziness. All right, so let's get into it.
Let's just pause there for a second, Travis, because
All right.
I believe that there is an announcement about the Boost YouTube channel. I don't think you've said this already, and if you have, then I don't know, we just have to cut this bit out. But we have finally got the Boost YouTube channel to monetization requirements, yeah?
We did. I
Big
forgot about
celebration.
that.
Wow.
Yes,
Awesome.
indeed.
Well done.
Crazy.
Well
Yay.
done.
Not something that we were necessarily going after, but it is a really cool goal to hit, a cool milestone that many listeners love to hit and feel like they've accomplished something very substantial. And I agree, 100% substantial.
My question is, once we are actually monetized and earning the revenue, are we going to spend it on candy corn or curly whirlies?
Well, so here's the thing. And John, I don't know if you know anything about what's been going on since before Halloween. We've been having the war of candy. It's me, Cadbury Eggs, versus Jen's candy corn versus Rob's curly whirlies. And I want to point something out. I showed this to Jen earlier. So we have this Discord, this really cool Discord that is that has our listeners in it. And if you have Boost or above, like 101 or the Boost package, if you click the link in the description or in the show notes and link your Discord, you can actually come and talk to other listeners. And we have this Discord. I'm gonna show this real quick on the screen. They have made this monstrosity in AI.
Oh my god.
If you're on YouTube, you're seeing this image. If you're not on YouTube, it's an image of a candy corn a Cadbury egg filled with candy corn in it using AI. It's beautiful. I mean, it looks gross.
It is beautiful. I don't know. I would try this one.
It looks
That's
real.
soup in there. That's candy corn soup.
That's
liquid.
the question. Like, what is the liquid?
I have an
wouldn't wanna know.
appropriate sound effect for this.
I agree with that.
It's just...
I like how the foil is wrapped in chocolate somehow.
No, like,
It's on the inside.
it's just so you know what it is. Yeah, it's the way
Surprise!
you get to peel this off after
It's
you
like
eat
the worst Kinder Egg.
Oh my god. As a matter of fact, I might need to put this in a thumbnail. John, could you help me do a thumbnail for this video? Maybe we put this on there. I think we need to
I think what's
incorporate
most
that.
impressive about that image is that for AI, the text is perfect.
Finally,
Absolutely spot on.
Besides that felling there.
the felling in
Hey,
the
John,
bottom.
I didn't want to
I mean, it's pretty
draw
close.
attention
It's
to that.
filling.
Candy corn felling.
I do want to talk about something else that's in here in this Discord, and that's this. What we're looking at here, and again, for the people listening on the audio podcast, I apologize, but let me try to explain. Auto dubbing is something that's just starting in YouTube right now. And what that does is it takes your videos and automatically dubs them to other languages. Now, my suspicion is that this wouldn't contribute very much to people's views, But someone in the Discord, I believe it was, Derek's Lawn Rescue, shared some analytics, and I'm kind of shocked by this. And what it is he's seeing good amount of views. So on this particular video, he's getting like hundreds of views from Spain, Portuguese, German, French. And what's most interesting isn't just that they're the number of views, but the average view duration is really high.
Yeah, incredible.
So that means that the voice that it's the voice thing, right? They're actually changing the voice, or is this the closed captioning? Do we know that, Rob?
Well, they're doing the voice, or do you mean what these analytics are?
Is this the voice, or this is the voice? I think.
Oh, I don't know that.
In which case, it must be good.
If he says dubbing, then that's voice.
Yeah, so that's what this is. And what's interesting for people, again, who can't see, average view duration on, like, the English stuff is close to 8 minutes, but, like, Portuguese is, like, 6 minutes, which is really good. German is 7 minutes, almost as long as the English version. This is kind of a game changer. Now, again, this could be niche dependent. This is a lawn rescue channel, which means most people have lawns in all over the world, so that's going to be relevant to everybody. So maybe the content you're doing is more aligned with your country. But now that I see analytics like this, I think this is kind of game changing. What do you guys think? Let's start with Jen first, and then we will move on.
It's pretty crazy. I was just trying to pop into my analytics and see what that looks like, to see if it was for actual dubbing.
Do you know if you've got the tool yet, Jen?
I do.
Okay.
Oh.
You do?
Yeah, I do have it. So I was trying to see where it is because I didn't even think to look at that. I published a video and then like a bunch of comments came in. It was like, why are you in German? And I was like, wait, what?
Interesting. Okay.
That's interesting.
And I like looked and I was like, oh crap, I didn't sound like an auto language kind of thing.
Interesting.
And then I went and I played through all of them and it sounds really good.
So what is YouTube deciding there? Is it depending on the location of a viewer or what language they've set, it's auto defaulting it to their native language?
That I couldn't tell you, but I had like 3 comments come in like as soon as I put the video live. I was like, why are you in German?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, I don't speak German. What?
This is wild. John, a lot of the stuff that you do personally, I think could benefit from this too, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess my question was kind of similar to Rob's. Is this something that we have to pay attention to, or is it just like all languages unlocked for every creator and everybody benefits from it? Is there something that, the average creator will have to prepare for this, or is it just like, hey, we're all just going to get like more worldwide views? I mean, I think it would be great, obviously, for the exposure, but I'm just wondering if there's like something specific, like some specific variable that decides what languages you get.
I don't know. I think it's just whatever it's supported. But what's interesting is Jen's point is like comments coming in different languages. Like, how do you deal with that? I don't know if YouTube's going to have some type of auto translate for that as well. I mean, I'm certainly vidIQ probably could if that's something that everyone wanted. Maybe we could do that.
I mean, naturally, I would just like right click and click translate to English, but it's not something that you can just quickly do on your phone, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah. So if YouTube had a translate feature for that, then that would be hugely beneficial. Yeah.
What did you find anything, Jen? Anything of interest?
I can't honestly tell the difference. In like Seymour Analytics, it says translated. And there's also a category for subtitles in CC, but that can't be the same. And then there was one that says translation use. And then original language 92%, and then translated 0.4%. But I'm not entirely sure where to see. Like, does that exist yet? How do we see that?
This is still early days, right? So I'm curious as to if anyone else has this feature, and you have the booster above. Go into our Discord and leave some screenshots there. It'd be really interesting to see and compare with what we just saw from Derek's channel, because that's very encouraging. Like the analytics from that video getting a couple hundred views from each place and the view durations being high, If the view durations weren't high, which would have been my expectation, I'd have been like, okay, this is just another bust. But the fact that people are watching for as long as they are with the voices mean that voices must sound really natural and must really not take away from the experience, which is, again, game-changing. Really game-changing.
So I found a section that if you click on under audience and you scroll down, it says, top subtitles and /CC. And then if you hit see more, it says no subtitles /CC, but then it also, for me, says Spanish and it says auto translated.
There you go.
Do we think that is dub?
Likely, or at least possibly.
And then as for that, I think it's a pretty high percentage viewed, 34%.
Yeah.
For a Spanish dub, if that's what it's.
How long is the video?
You're asking me so many questions right now, Travis.
What does the view duration say? What is
asking me so many questions.
It's a podcast about this stuff.
It's 14 minutes long.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's telling. That actually is very telling.
But I don't see any other language. And there's not the German section, which showed up for people. So that's like, I don't know. The math's not mathing on that one.
Well, listen, YouTube still got to figure this all out before we figure it out, I suppose.
They'll put it on the list under long shorts. It's on their to-do list.
That's actually something we should talk about next, as a matter of fact. And I can't wait to hear Rob and John's kind of thoughts on this. This year, 2024, as we're closing it out, was the expansion of shorts into longer shorts. We've talked about short longs and long shorts. What we're talking about here are shorts going into the upwards of 3 minutes for a short. And Rob, you did some experimentation, especially when it comes down to the monetary portion of shorts. Could you please share what you have learned about long shorts?
So the two big discoveries, anecdotally, of course, because I've only really been able to test it on a couple of videos, is when a short is consumed through the shorts player and it's a long short, the average view duration is significantly shorter than the same video watched through the normal YouTube watch page. And I think it's because at the moment viewers just aren't used to a short being longer than 60 seconds. And I think on average, because there was that weird crossover when a longer short, this is going to sound really complicated for anybody listening.
This is like a foreign language now. You sound auto-dubbed. Keep going.
The longer short was actually being watched through the regular watch page on YouTube.
I'm enjoying this. Keep going.
Rather than the shorts player, there was that crossover period. And when it was watched through a watch page, I think the average view duration was like 1 minute 35. But then when it was watched through the shorts player, it was 48 seconds. So it was like almost a minute less in average view duration. Okay? Everybody's still with me. If you're not with me, you don't need to worry about that, because the biggest difference is monetization. If you watch a video through the watch page, you open yourselves up to so many different ad revenue opportunities, banner ads, skippable ads, ads before, ads after, etc., etc. But with a shorts player, you are just one of several videos that somebody sees before an ad is played. And so again, on this same video, which had this crossover period, it had an RPM of around $4.50 when it was being watched through the watch page. And then when it was a shorts exclusive video, that dropped to 3 to 4 cents. So it was a 99% decline in ad revenue.
Yeesh.
So my kind of thoughts at the moment is, cool, you've got an extra 10, 20, 30 seconds to play with on a short, because I know a lot of people were struggling to get their shorts out in 59 seconds. I'd say use that extra 10, 20 seconds. But once the short is longer than 1 minute, 30 seconds, then maybe you actually want to put some borders on the side or record it in landscape so that it is treated as a long-form piece of content. That's my sort of general thoughts and advice going forward until the evidence suggests otherwise, especially from an ad revenue perspective.
John, what are your thoughts now after hearing all of that amazing information? Which I think, the TLDR is, if you're looking for money, don't do it. but might be the easiest way to say it. What do you think?
Well, I definitely agree that if you're trying to aim to do longer shorts, then still keeping it fairly short is the way to go. Just like Rob said, keeping it around a minute 30. And honestly, if you're doing a minute 30 long short, then it would have to be like absolutely necessary. Like if you're telling a story, it's got to be a really, really good story to take up all that time. I think that the vertical feed is its own phenomenon. Like it is just its own thing. And some types of content just don't work for the people that are in that headspace for doing, for watching vertical content. One big example we can look at is TikTok and the way that they do live streams. They get people to watch their live streams, but not like regular live streams. They get them to watch because they make them into competitions, and they like compete against each other and battle for like I don't galaxies or roses or whatever they're called on TikTok. And if you just have a regular person doing like a professional live stream, it's a different experience that people aren't looking for because they're in that scroll mindset. So yeah, I think it's about the amount of dopamine you can squeeze out in the shortest amount of time when it comes to vertical. And I'm not so sure that long shorts are going to perform as well as hoped.
Jen, any thoughts with any of your creators you've been coaching over the last couple of weeks?
Honestly, I feel like everyone's kind of abandoned them. I really feel like they have. I mean, I get Rob's point where, you say to like put some borders on, but at that point, why aren't you just making long form content?
Yeah, I agree with that. It's like a hack. It's like, oh, I recorded it like this instead of this by accident, so I need to fix it after the fact.
So that one, I yell at all of my creators for that. That's like the number one thing. I'm like, stop it. Don't do that. Stop it. But
that's good
if
coaching,
that's the
is
case,
that, Jen, when you're just telling people just stop doing that?
That's my channel audit. Stop it. Stop it.
Stop it.
But if you do that, then when the long shorts surface on your homepage, they're not going to play like shorts. So when you're going through your homepage and you get that one vertical, I don't know, it's like so weirdly scaled. Sure. But it still takes up your whole phone, even when it auto plays or you click on it, and you don't have to like change the orientation kind of. So I think that would be a weird thing. And I don't know what the discovery is versus, are those surfacing more on home pages and are they just being played right then and there? Or are they really getting more traffic once they're over as shorts?
Well, why don't we take a little break from this and answer a couple of the emails we've gotten from the listeners. The boost at vidIQ.com is the email. Of course, there is a link in the audio podcast show notes if you ever want to send in a message. Ironically, this one the subject is translate to another language. So this is perfectly fine. I literally just came in while we were recording this podcast, which is really weird. So, and they can't hear this. We're not streaming this live.
I was frantically writing it as we were.
So for the editor, this email actually might make sense right after the section where we just talked about translations. So let's read this. Let's see what they say. It's from Hal. Hi, Jen and Travis. And of course, we'll say Rob and John. This podcast is my most anticipated bedtime story every week because of the time zone difference. I usually watch it at night.
Oh.
Isn't that sweet? Regarding the question last year about using AI to translate videos from German to English, I have some personal experiences to share. I run 2 channels on the same topic, one in my native language and the other in English. Initially, I had just one channel, and I uploaded 2 videos for each topic, one in each language. At that time, YouTube's system couldn't translate my native language into English. Honestly, it still struggles now. Later, I took Rob's advice and split my content into 2 separate channels, remaking videos.
Please let this work. Please work.
Most of my videos are narrated, so I do voiceovers in both my native language and English before editing. Over time, I realized that translating a video isn't as simple as just switching its language. Viewers with different linguistic and cultural backgrounds have different viewing preferences and habits. As a result, I essentially have to make 2 distinct videos. The visuals will be shared, but the sequence, introduction, and even content need adjustment. Before I finish this email, almost done. That is interesting. That the content itself might need to change because of the cultural impact it may have in a different. And I think again, this has a lot to do with the type of content you're making. I think if it's like a video game, it's probably the same, doesn't matter. If it's a vlog, same, doesn't matter. But like how to cook or something might be slightly different because of the things available in other countries. Something like that, I guess. That's interesting. From my personal experience, simply translating a video language is at best a suboptimal solution. Of course, it might depend on the content. For example, something like how to tie a tie might work in 100 languages. Now, I swear I didn't just read that. I didn't know that before I just said what I said. This just happens to be one of our listeners who's super smart. I just want people to know we have super smart.
No, it's because you're in
listeners.
their head, Travis.
I'm in their head, in their head.
Especially when they're
sorry.
trying to fall
Okay.
asleep to this, Travis.
All right.
Yeah, right? They're having sweet dreams of cake, how to tie a tie, all of your examples.
Oh my god.
Anybody in the mood for cranberries?
Listen, it was a great song. But for
Deep
content, it's super deep cut. For instance, if you make a video about a candy corn challenge, viewers from different regions without candy corn might be confused and even misinterpret candy corn as being delicious. Let's go!
Oh,
That's right.
No, this email's over.
Burn. All right.
Wait, we don't even know if John likes candy corn.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. You need to.
Fess up,
take
John.
No, I don't.
No,
Oh,
exactly.
kick
it's
him
just
out.
wax. It's basically a candle.
Yeah, I'd rather not eat wax.
No, exactly. In such cases, the context of the video would need to be adjusted for those audience. That said, even without adjustments, viewers might still lack cultural connections and lose interest. This is just some of my thoughts. So this is, before I read the last sentence, this is really interesting and brings up a really good point about this auto dubbing feature that we just talked about. I think it's going to work more often than it doesn't, but there are instances where I think the view duration will go down because culturally it doesn't make sense to the person watching. Rob, your thoughts on this?
I kind of feel like we're overthinking this now.
Maybe.
When it's a tool which requires zero cost and zero effort.
I love that part.
I feel as if in 95% of cases you would just turn it on, see what happens, analyze the data. If it is having a detrimental impact on discoverability and impressions, then maybe just turn it off. And I think you can do that at the default, was it the upload default setting, so you can turn it off at the master level if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. John, any thoughts from what we've been read so far?
No, but it does kind of make me wonder if they are like, if the algorithm is pushing to different languages, if that affects your current push in your own native
Right.
language, or if it's like involved. But yeah, like Rob said, I think it's something that's just going to automatically do its thing, and I don't know. I don't think it takes a whole lot of adjustment, but making more than one piece of content is always a good call, in my opinion. I think.
Sorry, John, finish your thought. I want to ask
I was
Jen
just going to
something
say,
now.
I think the real big customization area here is to put things in your own voice, which I know people are doing with AI. But yeah, that's like the only thing that I could think would take extra work.
Jen, when
I think-
you got the notification, did you have to turn the auto dubbing on, or was it on by default?
It went on by itself, and then it actually takes a little bit. So I was playing around more, and I found another video that had German, Spanish, and French done. And then I looked at a most recent upload, and it's not done yet.
Okay,
So it looks like a few days, maybe.
right.
I don't know. It's really dependent on per video, because maybe it's how long it's sitting in studio before you hit publish too. That counts. I don't know. But it did go on automatically.
Yeah.
And then I had to go in and select the auto language of my video. Please be in English.
I'm super curious how it'll impact the vidIQ channel.
Especially when we already have a dedicated Spanish channel.
Right.
Right.
It's
Very
great. Spanish was my longest time. So it's not a lot of views, but German watched 23 seconds. I'm assuming that was like the mistake. French was 2 minutes. And then Spanish watched 11 minutes.
Wow.
They watched longer than the English people.
Maybe you should learn Spanish, Jen.
I told you, Travis, I sounded good in Spanish. Like, I talk fast already. Spanish was like rapid fire. Like listening
was-
to the auto dub in Spanish was insane.
It was en fuego. And then the last part of the sentence. Also, I'm really curious about Jen's reaction. Okay, so Jen wasn't here last week. We got an email to Jen, so she doesn't know what this is about. So I'll have to really quick catch her up, but I'll read the email. Also, I'm really curious about Jen's reaction to the suggestion of replacing the candies in her bag, which, for those who didn't hear the episode, Jen had a ant infestation in her purse a couple of weeks back.
That's just so ridiculous.
And it's because she left candy in her purse, I guess. And the ants found it.
Always.
Right? So there was a suggestion last week to replace those candies with candy corn because ants won't eat it because it's not edible. And so this is what they're saying.
Hilarious.
I'm really curious about replacing candies with candy corn. So my question is, what was Jen's reaction about that letter suggesting that you put candy corn in instead of candy?
Honestly, it's probably smarter. And since they are indestructible, like nothing would affect them. I could eat them at any time I was hungry. Versus other things kind of melt. Granola bars get crushed. Candy corn would be a solid purse snack. And you probably wouldn't have to share it.
I'm excited about that. Can't wait to hear the stories in 2025 for that. All right. So next email. Hey, Travis and Jen, hope you're doing well. My name is Colton. I have around 500 subscribers. I want to write this to get your advice and insight on how to improve my performance, mainly CTR, and playthrough style content. A bit of a backstory. I've been doing YouTube for about 7 years now and have sort of flip-flopped through different styles and content and niches. In 2025, however, I'm 90% committed to the retro gaming niche. Packaging and CTR-wise, this niche relies heavily on one-off videos, but there are some story games that I want to make full playthroughs of. I feel like my best bet is to live stream these story games on YouTube and edit the live streams into hour-long compilations, but let me know what you think. The only problem I have with this is my editing style is very time-consuming, and I'm the type of person that only focuses on one project at a time. So I don't want to sacrifice consistency for a long video that people might not want to commit to watching. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I hope this email wasn't too long. Thank you in advance. Well, let's just talk to John, who knows about the analysis paralysis of editing at times. For those who don't know, John has been with vidIQ for a while, but before that, he had his own YouTube channel, and in between that and vidIQ, he actually did editing for my Travis Tries the World channel. And I just want to say that his editing is amazing, incredible, and it's some of my favorite content I've ever made, period. But, and I think John would admit some of this, there was a time, I don't know if that's really the case anymore, but there was a time where you were really super analytical and maybe overly I don't know, kind of stuck when you would edit something. You wanted to be just right. Tell us about that and where you think you are now and what you've learned from that experience.
It's easy to pinpoint if you go back to like my first 2 videos on the vidIQ channel, because they would take me a month at a time to edit, and I'd be spending, well, like right around 12 to 16 hours a day just editing, because I'd like to get everything perfect. And the whole intro of one, I like 3D modeled and designed. I made my whole office, like, and it's just like one of those things that people just walk right by, they watch right past. And it took a long time to learn, first to be able to let go, to have somebody else edit my stuff, because like for some reason I'm just like, nah, it won't be right, and it took a long time to learn that there is no right. And the video that I've spent the least amount of time on in my life is the one that got 1 million views. It's the most ridiculous situation. But after being with vidIQ for so long and like it being necessary to film raws and give them to an editor, it's kind of it's let the reins loose a little bit. And that's a exposure therapy situation. You don't get over that until you have to. Either you get over it or you don't make content. And I had to hire an editor for myself, and that took a long time to find too. But you have to do it at some point. It's just what's your time worth, really? That's the big question.
I love this. There are so many creators that I have that's like, I spent 2 weeks on this short, and then the one I uploaded after that was literally just shot on my phone. There was like 2 cuts. It was kind of like a joke, and it got me that million views. It is like far surpassed everything I've ever created. And so many times have I heard creators say, like, the video they put the least amount of effort in, almost didn't even care about, is the video that absolutely just surprised them the most.
I think people, they realize their standard of quality at that point when something like that happens. They're like, okay, it's to my standard, my lowest standard, and then it's a quantity game after that. And seriously, just keep putting stuff out. As long as you're okay with it, it's good enough, then get it out there because you have more chances of things blowing up. It all the time, happens all the time.
What would you say is at the root of why that happens, Jen? I'm trying to think of an explanation for this, because we all know what you mean when you say that. But like, if we could encapsulate that explanation into a bottle and sell it, we could retire very, very quickly. And so the best answer I can think of is that it's just a spontaneous idea in the moment that is so in tune with what you're doing that it just clicks, and you can make it instantly without much thought to it. Whereas the things that you put so much effort into, you kind of forget to think about whether or not this is a good idea, and you're just more focused on getting, you know, the right L cuts and the graphic to move into that precise point, and you just lose yourself in the process rather than the germination of the idea as well. Have I just answered my own question? I don't know if I have.
I think you worded it beautifully. I was going to say, I think when you chase something, it runs away faster than you can catch it. And I think there's a mindset or just kind of a place you can get stuck in when you are constantly chasing your next big video, chasing the next viral thing, where you don't have that spontaneous creativity. That's why you started this. That's why you have your YouTube channel. And they're just different. They're different places, and getting wrapped up in chasing those views usually isn't the best ideas that you have. I don't know. I think that when you kind of let go a little bit, you get rewarded in a sense where things just kind of fall back into line. But letting go like that is not easy. I don't know the secret to flipping that switch.
It works the exact same with thumbnails, by the way. When you can like immediately think of how to convey an idea through an image, it's just like, it's so easy to understand. Those make the best thumbnails, by the way. Just so you know, if you can draw it out in like 2 seconds and then kind of spice it up in Photoshop or whatever in 20 minutes, that's the winner, guaranteed.
I love that. So I tell my creators, I'm like, you should be making thumbnails and writing titles like you are making them for a kindergartner. Do you feel like that's accurate then, John?
No doubt, for sure. I got this book called Back of the Napkin, and it's all about conveying your ideas through imagery. It's solid. It's good.
Back of the Napkin. That's a cool title.
So if my next title is V is for views, and then just have like a number on a blackboard, am I guaranteed 1 billion views?
It better be a sing along. Let me tell you that. Okay. That's what it sounds like.
Pretty much.
We've already got some vidIQ AI tunes, haven't we, Travis? Have we played any of them on the podcast yet? We should maybe.
I think. Oh, I have one that Jen doesn't like. Hold on.
Lead out.
Weirdest one to me. It makes me laugh so hard.
Wait, where is it? Let me.
It is the weirdest AI song. Funny, but just I don't know. Maybe there's something about AI songs like I just can't.
Okay, I have. I think there's two
I
here.
used one in a video today that went live. The one that's like vidIQ gives you the blues. No, vidIQ gives you the blues. Like YouTube something or other gives you the blues or something. I don't know. But anyway, the video is 1 of 10. So like,
it's
AI
a 1 of 10
every single video.
Well, let me play part of this. I don't remember how long it is. Let's see.
All right.
Travis and Denver, talking about a YouTube life. We're growing at those likes. Tips to help you reach new heights. Content plans and thumbnail hacks. As CEO to get on track. Collabs and shorts and viral acts. Travis and Jen, we've got your back. Boost it up with every post from the channel you love most. Grow your views and subscribers to Travis and Jen. They'll see you through. Analytics don't hear the stats.
It's
Anyway, you get it. You get
so
the idea.
odd.
Oh, we need a T-shirt. That analytics don't fear the stats.
Love it.
Beautiful.
I think it's catchy. I think it's kind of cool. Anyway, that's one of the many things that we've done this year. Looking into 2025, and again, I hope that helps G-Boy, Colton, figure it out.
Before we move on, I made a graphic last night for a book I'm working on. It's I sent it in chat. I also sent it to you in Slack, but it totally applies to what Jen was talking about with the people that she coaches. It's like the law of diminishing returns, but for content creation. I don't know if you can share it. I can share it if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm so intrigued.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense to me when I made it. So here we go.
Well, I like this.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time creating, and you'll hit that moment, and then if you keep going, you just overthink it, and the quality goes down and down until you give up.
This is great.
Cool little image here for people on the YouTube channel. Yeah, it's. I think it's great. We actually had, what was that other one we were showing, Jen, like a couple weeks ago, where the idea and if it's the idea or it's the, remember that thing?
Oh yeah, it was from a Vid Summit presentation,
right?
And it was when people are blaming the algorithm,
right?
But it always comes back to the idea.
Yeah, loved it. I love these things. These are great.
Maybe you should show a draft to James Cameron and John, and we might get Avatar 3 in a couple of years rather than 2035.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
James, if you watch him.
And he'll be like, do you know how much money I have? Like, let me show you my graph. Let me show you where the diminishing returns are for James Cameron.
For 2025, obviously some new changes I'm sure will be coming. What we know of are things like the community, which we hope come in 2025, which is I don't know, you don't want to call it like a Discord-y thing, but it's kind of like a forum within YouTube channels. So we know that's coming. The widespread, of course, of the auto dub, which we've just been talking about. It really seems like trying to bring everything together in one place. YouTube is, if nothing else, really trying to work on having you upload all your content to one channel, not having to split into multiple channels unless you have a different audience. They want you to be able to just put live streams, shorts, regular content, all on the same channel. But have they been successful this year? Let's go down the line. Was 2024 successful before we look into 2025? All the things YouTube tried to implement this year, did it help creators? Was it neutral, or did you think it hurt creators? Jen, let's start with you.
I'm trying to think, what did they actually do this year?
I'm Googling it.
So
I'm like,
A/B thumbnail testing, longer shorts.
I think A/B thumbnail testing. It's hard to say because I'm actually not a huge fan of this. I think that it mentally helps creators, but I think for the majority of creators on the platform, this is not a tool that is helpful because people aren't using it. And of course, this is generally speaking from, the my creators that I have, is that they're not prioritizing what one really good thumbnail is, and instead you have two mediocre ones that are battling each other and not properly battling each other either. So I have kind of switched my approach where I would rather someone come up with one really good idea for a thumbnail and just leave it at that, because you're just relying on YouTube to make this decision. But what you're not thinking about is like your worst thumbnail is still being shown to people, and then they're not going to click on the video. Well, I mean, maybe not click on the video, and then they don't get an opportunity to see that second one. So personally, I'll say I do not use A/B testing, and I don't encourage, especially my smaller creators who are really building those skills, to use A/B testing. I do encourage larger creators who have the data to get quick test results to do 24-hour testing, 3-day testing, 7-day testing for wider audience reach, community outreach, and test with that priority. But that's not relevant to a smaller creator. I
John,
like
I
John
feel-
nodding his head. I
I
feel
was about
very
to say-
validated. Keep nodding, John.
At this moment, I don't think I've agreed with somebody more at vidIQ than this moment. I'm like, I want to scream, yes, that's what I've been saying. It's tough because I got this thumbnail live stream and people are like, well, I do these tests and all this. And I'm like, yeah, but if three crappy thumbnails are battling each other, one has to win. And if that's the case, it doesn't tell you anything. It's in my opinion, it's better. And by the way, vidIQ might not condone this. I don't know. I don't speak for vidIQ. I just speak for John Scott. Just having a thumbnail or two and switching it out yourself to see the results, it limits the variables so you actually know. There's just too much unknown when it comes to the tool at this moment, and especially since it's not CTR. Travis once said, well, if it did impressions, if impressions were the metric that it judged, and I'm like, yeah, that would work. I would be okay with that. But yeah, I feel you for real. And also, honestly, like, stop focusing on making 3 thumbnails. Make the next piece of content. Like, that's what I tell everybody. This is a thumbnail stream, but please move on, please.
Rob, we have strong opinions on the other side of this. What do you
Oh,
think?
the left side of the screen is just saying right.
See, I don't necessarily disagree with what either of you has said, and I have now been making sometimes 3 or 2 thumbnails per video, and 12 months later, I'm still not sure what type of thumbnails I should be making to best attract my audience. And maybe that's just me having a scattergun creative approach to this. I think for people who have discipline and can be really analytical, I think it can be helpful in doing what you would call big thumbnail tests. That being have a face in a thumbnail, not having a face in a thumbnail, text in a thumbnail, not having text in a thumbnail, and you might be able to make a informed decision on whether to do one or the other. And then, as John and Jen say, that's kind of alliteration there. You should do a podcast, John and Jen.
John and Jen.
John.
Oh,
John Jen.
There's
Jen
a-
John.
There's
Podcast
a
coming
radio
soon.
show here in Cincinnati, John and Jen. Oh, no, it's Jeff and Jen. Never mind. Ignore me.
What on earth was I saying there? Yeah, so like maybe you could do some big thumbnail difference split testing, and then once you know, right, it's definitely faces in thumbnails, then you go back to making one thumbnail, but make it a very high quality one. But I must admit, like when it first came out, I thought this is brilliant. Everybody should use it. 12 months later, I'm just not sure what to recommend anymore. I'm really not. I feel as if everybody should test it out because for some people it might be like a light bulb moment. But I understand how if you are very creative and now we're asking you to make another 2 thumbnails on top of everything you're doing, that could lead to just more stress and pressure and paralysis. And like everybody else, I don't understand the watch time metric. I feel it should be click-through rate with impressions shown to make sure that it did equally distribute the thumbnails to all users. Because I'm never sure if it's equally shared the thumbnails between all of the users, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
if a thumbnail was shown 100 times, I don't know if 33 times it showed A, 33 times it showed B, and then 34 times it showed C. And without that data, that's a little frustrating.
Yeah, and it skews the results.
I do think there's a nice confidence thing, like with Rob's test doing textless or faceless. I think when creators are kind of set in their ways and you suggest, like, what if we don't put your face on the thumbnail? It's very scary and it's very intimidating to test out something so polar opposite or testing out an entirely different aesthetic that it makes creators feel more confident being like, well, just put them both in. So if that helps, that little step into making changes that can grow the channel, I will stand for that because those can be really big decisions and like very scary decisions for big changes like that.
I think about beginning creators too. Those that don't really know how to, like, the best thumbnail practices, but they can still use the tool. And it's sort of like a Dunning-Kruger effect thing where like everybody's super confident and then they realize that they shouldn't be so confident and then it's time to learn. And they call that Mount Stupid. And so I think the tool can push new creators over Mount Stupid into the humbled territory where then they can learn. And I never considered that, you know, it's just because I used to be there and it would have been useful then. And now it's like, I've had a tough time finding use for it, but it doesn't mean it can't be useful for others for sure.
So with all this being said, what are some of the things that you think beginning creators should know going into 2025? Of course, the landscape of YouTube will change, especially if the TikTok ban goes through. We're going to see an influx of new short form creators coming into YouTube if they haven't already started. Viewership will probably start coming in too, because the only real place to watch short form will be Instagram and or YouTube. So a lot of these things could change for sure. But what are the things that you can say pretty confidently they're evergreen growth tactics going into 2025? Let's start with Rob, and then we'll go over to John, and then Jen.
Oh, well, I'm going to cop out here and say
The pressure.
it's still not too late to start a YouTube channel. It feels like the industry is still growing, so there is still opportunities. I think the dynamic of the journey of a creator is changing a little bit, in the sense that it does seem to be now more somewhat AI skewed, I would suggest. And I just think overall, the ability and talent of even the beginner creator seems just so much more advanced than it was maybe 5 to 10 years ago. And I say that from looking at the YouTube education niche, whereby there was maybe a handful when I started. 5 years later, there was dozens. Now, when I look at my feed, I seem to be seeing a new creator every single time I load up the homepage who's giving their own YouTube advice. And the quality is sensational. It's starting to make me feel a bit like a dinosaur in that niche, weirdly. So, yeah, start, but just be aware that I think everybody who has been thinking about starting a YouTube channel has figured out now, yeah, this is actually somewhere where I could really grow as a professionally and maybe build a business out of it. So act fast. Do it.
John.
Do it now.
I think something to keep in mind is that there are plenty of opportunities still on YouTube, and there always will be. But it can be overwhelming when you first start thinking that there's every niche is saturated or whatever. Just from personal experience, recently I was dealing with Kindle Direct Publishing. It's for Amazon to put a book on Amazon. Then I was dealing with some like Photoshop issues because I just got a new computer. And I go to YouTube to learn about these things, and the channels that cover these topics are so old. They put all their call to actions right at the beginning, and they have super long intros. And it's like, here is a spot where somebody could come in and take over completely just by offering value first. And then it's like, hey, if you want more, hit subscribe. I'll be back with another video, like right at the end. I think people are annoyed about that old YouTube style, and they won't put up with it because there's way too many channels to watch now. And more than that, I think that episodic content, like series content, is probably going to do something in 2025. I think I saw Colin and Samir talking about it, but I saw somebody else talking about it way before them, like months before, where he's like, I could see YouTube being the new Netflix, and he was a very small channel. And now I'm seeing it. I'm seeing what it looks like on TV. And if you're like a vlogger, or you're trying to set up something like that where you do like a series content, I think that there's a huge potential in that for sure.
Funny you say this. We're seeing more documentary style stuff on YouTube. I watch a lot of documentary stuff on YouTube. One of my friends did a documentary style video that just came out the other day. It's absolutely spectacular. It's about when the iPhone 4 leaked. For those of you who may remember, there was an iPhone engineer before the iPhone 4 was ever announced. This guy took a prototype to a bar and left it on a stool, and some guy found it and then ended up selling it to his website. And it became a worldwide thing because no one knew this phone was coming out. and it became a huge story. And he just did like a retrospective documentary. It looks like Netflix quality stuff. Like if you watch this thing, it looks Netflix quality. He just released it this past weekend. The channel's FPT, Front Page Tech. If you want to check it out, if you're interested in that sort of thing, go check it out. And it really is. This is that new platform for that sort of content, like high end. Of course, you can always do the fun little vloggy stuff too, but I feel like and I agree with John, this is that place for that new type of content. Jim, what are you thinking about thoughts going into 2025? The things that you think creators should know?
Things that creators should know. I mean, I agree with everything that everyone has said so far. I think that I have seen a lot of new creators or smaller channels surfacing, even just for me as a viewer. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like every time, maybe it's like a TV thing, because I really only watch YouTube like outside of work as TV. And everything suggested next is prioritizing being closer to the video that I watched, regardless of if it's the same creator, regardless of how many views. I can't even tell you how many 200, 300 view videos show up as my, watch next video. And that is like super new behavior that I've seen, at least. I have not seen this many small creators surface. So I agree with Rob and start the channel because you have such a great shot. I also have small creators right now who are uploading their first video, getting 1,000 views, uploading their second video, getting that 200, 300 view mark. So do it. Start the channel. I also see kind of like, I understand the episodes thing, but I also see content just getting longer and longer and longer. Every day I go on, I feel like it's longer average timestamps. And just about every video for like the sides of YouTube that I consume are like 30 minutes plus.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just a trend that's just going to get even more dramatic this coming year. And I feel like there's also polar opposite sides. The high production documentary style that Travis, you're talking about. I feel like there's also the super relatable, super unedited, longer content that people just want to feel really connected to. And I feel like this kind of middle ground of content of like meshing the worlds is maybe disappearing a little bit. But that's just, that's just an opinion.
I think to double down on one of the things you said about longer form content, what YouTube has actually said, and this will continue into 2025, I'm practically positive of it, is you will see longer form content start to work out because more and more people are watching content on their televisions. There's tons of ways to watch YouTube on your television now. And because of that, people's tolerances for watching things that are longer in nature is much higher. It's much easier to sit down on your couch and watch a 20, 30-minute YouTube video on your television than it is for some people to sit there and hold your phone and do it. Like it's something, inevitably, you're going to be distracted from that experience. If you're home, you're watching YouTube. I watch a lot of my YouTube on my television. I am watching longer form content. So you will see that in certain niches. So continue to look for those type of niches, or if you're in your niche, ways of bringing your storytelling to the forefront, being able to stretch it out a little bit longer to get people hooked in. But one of the things I always say is you should be really looking for the ability to hook people to want to come back. And one of the best ways to do that is whatever the point of the video is. Let's say, for example, you know what I'm going to say, Jen. You know what I'm going to say, right? Let's say...
Just say it.
I'm going to say it.
Let's
say
it.
you're baking a cake, right?
Oh, is it chocolate, Travis? Is it a chocolate cake?
It's a chocolate cake. If you're baking a chocolate cake, right after you've taken the thing out of the oven and taken your first bite, like you should instantly be going, and in my next video, I'm going to show you how to make the best icing, and end that video as soon as possible. Always leave them wanting more. Give them all the value, but end that thing as soon as you possibly can so they will come back and watch something else. It's a trend I'm seeing in music now, which I don't really like, but it's a thing where almost all the songs that are coming out now are like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Back in my day, songs were 5 and 6 minutes long.
Songs were 16 minutes.
I'm noticing shorter, and you could say it's attention spans, but I also feel like they makes you, gives you more time to listen to more stuff. So I like that as an idea. Get people hooked, give them what they want, and then immediately get out and tell them to watch something else. That'll be something I'll always say.
Wait, I want to hear everyone else's like trends. I know I didn't really give advice for like whatever your question was, Travis, but
Whatever my question was.
whatever your actual question was, I definitely didn't answer it. But I want to hear what everyone thinks trends for 2025 actually are. I know everyone kind of said a little bit, but what do we actually feel like is going to happen in 2025?
Who are you asking that question to first?
I mean, you're the most trendy person here, Rob. So.
Me? All right. Okay.
You are.
So I feel as if there is some sort of AI reckoning coming because of Sora. I don't know if you've all started to see and play around with that. But also YouTube is releasing its AI tools as well. I think there's already been a wave of AI content coming onto a platform in 2024. I think that's going to become more prevalent, and I feel as if YouTube may need to take more action, whether to lean into it more or to fight against it. I think the audience will decide. But what I've noticed in 2024, maybe this is just how my algorithm has been influencing me, and I get the feeling this happens to every single person on YouTube at some point, but I feel as if YouTube has got more negative in the last year, in that everybody was celebrating the success of creators and how they were growing. You know, from these bedroom creators who started a decade ago and now they have their own empires, like businesses. And there's been a raft of negativity and like controversial stories. And, you know, again, is the algorithm just pushing me all of these stories about how all of these people are failing? And like, that is now what the audience wants to see. We've seen these creators build themselves up and now want to see them smashed down and somebody else take their place. And I don't know if that is going to continue in 2025 or that's just how I feel based off of what social media, not just YouTube, all of social media seems to be pushing my way at the moment. And I'm sorry I kind of end it on that bad mark, but yeah, it feels as if more and more creators are now starting to be treated as celebrities, and audiences want to see those celebrities not just in a positive, valuable light, but also in a vulnerable, exposed, negative light as well.
John?
Way to set that one up.
Follow that one, John.
I occasionally see like negative content, but it's more like snarky podcasts and stuff that I occasionally watch, just like drama stuff. But I don't get shown a whole lot. I recently did get shown something about a channel called JCS. It's like a true crime, and I don't know what happened, but they used to have a narrator that was super popular, and then they released a video, and they release like one every year or every 2 years. Very dedicated fan base, but that they don't talk to. But they released a video, and all of the AI, it was 11 Labs. It mocked his voice, and they paid the guy, but they just didn't use him. And so he was like, whatever. But people hated it so much, it went down within 6 hours. And it's like, I saw that because one person covered it immediately and started talking negatively about the entire situation. And yeah, they got like 100,000 views in 3 days, and they were like 300 subscriber channel. It was just absolutely insane. But yeah, I guess that's a little bit of a combination of AI reckoning and and drama channel. Just, yeah, it does happen. I don't see a whole lot of it, but I wonder if it stems from a lack of connection for some people. Like, I wonder if enough people could see behind the scenes of people that they could relate to, if they could find their people to hang out with online, that they wouldn't be so apt to go and talk S-word about other creators and stuff. Like, you can approach the internet with hate, or you can approach it with community and love, and it's just like maybe there's not enough of the latter.
Yeah, we see this all the time in a lot of different spaces on YouTube. Fortunately, the boost kind of viewership has been incredibly loving and fun. I mean, really, we have some of the most fun and creative viewers I've ever seen. Some of the emails are just outrageous. Jen knows this. Outrageously
They're so
cool.
creative. It's crazy.
So, but that's also because we've cultivated that. And I won't stand for negative comments in the comment section. It's across the board. It'll just be like, hey, negative comment, you get deleted. Because the thing is, there was a study about this. I remember I did a video about this many years ago, where people are emboldened after the first negative comment to pile on. It's easy to pile on. It's not necessarily easy to be the first person to say something negative. It's certainly easy to be the second person. So if you can cut it off at the beginning, then that's a good way to keep things positive. Another thing, and I've said this before to a lot of creators, every single time I say this, the creators I say it to, it's like something changes for them. And that is when you get negative comments, the impetus is to, and a lot of times people want to immediately respond, clap back, whatever the case may be. And we see a lot of this from creators, and I see it as like a support of other creators. I'm a fan of other creators as well. You'll leave a cool comment, supportive comment, and it gets no interaction from the creator. But you look a little bit further down, and someone says something hateful to them, and they're going back and forth with that person. And it's human nature to try to defend yourself and stuff, but what you're doing is you're robbing from the people who support you, and you're giving to someone who isn't supporting you at all. And basically what you're doing is the people who've been there maybe every single day for every single one of your videos and liking and everything, and there's people you don't react to because you just see them all the time, and this one person who does a drive-by hateful comment, you give them all your time, you're making the people who support you maybe go, what am I doing here? I've shown this person so much love, and they're just maybe I should say something hateful. Maybe then they'll reply to me. There have been times where I've gotten comments back when I was first starting out that were kind of like hater comments, and when I responded to them, they were like, oh, I just wanted to get your attention. And that should tell you everything you need to know. They're not being genuine. So definitely the people that support you, you should support them back. And I think that's super important for 2025 and really anytime, 2026, 2027. Let's wrap this up and go around the room and think and talk about the things we want to accomplish in 2025. So John, let's start with you. If you had a goal for 2025, you don't have to do 3 or 4, just do one, make it easier on you. What would be your number one goal in 2025?
2024 has been a year of like learning everything business side of creating, like landing pages, marketing, setting up a business address, like getting the website, everything that like a creator would need to like start selling a product or put out digital stuff. And so I guess next year within January I would like to have my business set up. And then I guess that's it. I'm going to hit that goal the first month and then cruise the rest of the year.
He's good. 2025 will be done.
I might do a cartwheel by December. We'll see. Like Creed.
He's taking 11 months off. Rob,
there we go.
What is your goal?
Got the LLC. I'm good.
You're good. I'm out. I did it. Rob, what are your thoughts? What are you doing?
I want to weirdly create less and have a year of like investment into my skills as a creator and a communicator. This year I've made I think 70 long form videos, at least 70 shorts, and done at least 40 live streams. So what's that, about almost 200 pieces of content, which means it's like a piece of content every other day. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm starting to feel like a bit of a dinosaur in my own niche. And so I'm accusing myself of doing more than I should be investing. So I want to improve just the way I communicate on camera. I've said this many times, probably to you, Travis. You probably heard this a billion times already.
And I don't believe it. I think
you don't believe it.
I agree.
I feel as if I lack authenticity and a genuineness through the lens. And so I want to try and find a coach or a mentor who can unlock that part of my skill set. Because I feel as if that's a glass ceiling at the moment. And like I can either incrementally improve 1 or 2% per year, or like have this moment of epiphany where I get like 25, 50% better at it, like in a couple of weeks, months.
Awesome.
And then I can give all of that new knowledge back to the audience. That's what I'm looking to do.
Jen?
So if you don't hear from me for 3 months, that's what I'm doing.
We don't hear
you
from
say
him. He's
it?
with his coach.
Which
Bro.
is a bit of a problem because John's apparently having the rest of the year off once he set up his
I know,
business.
he's taking
I'm
11
having a
months off.
3-month. Dan's screwed. What?
I don't know what Dan's
Yeah,
going to do.
what's Dan going to do? He's got a lot of videos to make.
Jen, what are you doing
If you listen to this podcast, Dan, which you probably don't.
Uh-oh, Dan. Trouble's coming, Dan.
Which you probably don't.
We said, listen, we said it on the podcast, so it was a thing.
I've
It's
just,
a thing. I mean, the majority of people are here, so
Yeah.
I've just accused Dan of not listening to a podcast either. Is that slander? Is that
No,
libel in the US?
He's a busy guy. You listen to it, though, from what I can tell.
I do.
Which is kind of interesting. I find that, first of all, I'm very flattered by that. I think that's amazing.
I
'Cause
love that Rob listens.
I mean, it's we do all this stuff all week long. You would think it's almost like working at a pizza joint and being like, I'm gonna have some pizza. Which, by the way, I've done. I did work at Little Caesars and ate pizza all the time.
But if the pizza's good,
if the pizza's good, you're gonna eat it at least once a week. Jen, what are you
It's
doing?
weirdly,
for 2025?
listening to this is like unwinding from YouTube. It's like this is my transition podcast from YouTube life to real life. Yeah.
ooh, I like that. I feel like, oh, that's a good way of saying like the vibe we were going for.
Yeah.
Because like we're just chilling talking about YouTube, but it's transitional.
All right, Jen, you 2025.
2025. Personally, I would like to keep up with the channel I just revived. That would be like a good thing to do. And then here, oh my gosh, I want to do some new stuff with the boost. I want to have fun with some new ideas. I mean, can I really set these goals? Like, no, I don't have the ultimate permissions to do that, but I think it would just be fun to incorporate a new type of structure or podcast. Definitely something for the main channel that would just be, I don't know, fresh, different. Like, what's missing? Like Rob said, there's so many people popping up kind of doing, you know, everything that Rob's already done. What's next? What's new? Well, Rob's going to figure that out with his coach, and then we'll just copy Rob. So,
Yeah, we're just going to copy Rob. And for me, finally, this channel is really going to be my focus for everything. I really, in this podcast in general, I really want to take it to another level. I want to do different things. I want to incorporate the community even more. I think we have a really strong community that's made this a really fun experience this far for what was it, almost 3/4 of a year we've been doing it now, just a bit over half a year. And I just want more of that. Give me more. And we're going to try to do some really cool new stuff. So hopefully, if we continue to grow and y'all continue to come through, we'll continue to do amazing things. So that's the end of 2024. Going into 2025, we hope that you've learned all the things you need to be successful. But even if you haven't, we will be back in early January. And I want to thank Rob and John for joining us today. Now that we
So
You're welcome.
fun.
check that off. People were like,
Can we
John needs
also
to be
put
on.
hoodies on the list? I want vidIQ hoodies.
Yes. Actually, you know what? We're going to make that happen.
I mean, for the company, for the community, for
We're gonna make that
everyone. Let's get vidIQ merch.
100%
Agreed.
that's going to happen. I will make that happen. By hook or crook. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. In the new year, if you want to send us an email or anything, first of all, if you're watching on the main channel, well, let me do this for the YouTube video. If you like this and you want to see the fully unedited version with all the silliness, hit the link in the description below and we'll see you in the next one. And for everyone else who's watching on the Boost channel, listening to the audio podcast, thank you so much. I hope you have an incredible holiday season, incredible new year, and we're going to help you take your videos and your channel to the next level. And we're going to do it like this. Wait, hold on. I just realized we need to do this at least once.
That is statistically insignificant.
Yeah. We need to make sure that we do that at least once.
I was waiting for you to sign it off and be like, and for 2024, the rest of 2024, remember to stay statistically insignificant.
That's right. We'll see you in the next one.
Spin up with every love to on the channel you love yours to. Or if you listen to the first two, try best to see you through.
John's doing is perfect for this song.